Hi everyone and welcome at Humans in AI, a show by the global AI community where every episode we interview a human, and today we're interviewing Micheleen. Hi Micheleen, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, Timmy. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm glad to have you here today in the Channel 9 studio. Micheleen, for people to get to know you a little bit more, I want to ask you one specific question. If you wouldn't be working in the tech industry, what do you think you would be doing?
So I would do something very, very different, which is nothing against the tech industry. I love the tech industry. But if I didn't have the opportunity to work here, I would actually be a mountain guide, so kind of a mountaineer, which is a hobby of mine. So
you love hiking?
I love hiking, I love crampons and ice axes and ropes and all these things.
Well, the nature is good for our health also.
It is.
Okay, that's interesting to know, Micheleen. A little bit more now back to the tech industry. What do you and your team exactly do at Microsoft?
Perfect. So I'm in an organization called Azure for Operators. So we work with operators in telecommunications. Our data sets are generally time-stamped. So we're talking about the time series, some also language data sets and things like this. So what do we do? What's the purpose of my team? Right now, we're actually working very closely with customers on specific scenarios. One that's very interesting is like predictive maintenance for hardware failures. We also look at forecasting for like data center capacity and things like this, right? So it's super exciting. We try to answer those real questions that are pain points for customer. And then we get to also help our product team partners build the right things. And we work with brilliant people. They're making all these cool like data pipelines to feed the data to the data scientists like my team. So yeah.
Okay, so you're talking also about data center capacity. Does that mean your work is also used in the Azure data centers, for example?
It's not, but you know what is super cool is I get to work with those folks that do forecasting and for the data centers, do predictive maintenance for hardware in our data centers, and apply that knowledge and experience to our customer scenarios. And then what's fantastic is we just learn from each other and we collaborate, right?
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that's quite interesting.
That's cool.
Because you work more with the customer side, where they work, of course, on the Microsoft internal servers.
Exactly.
But then you combine the knowledge with each other.
Yeah.
Well, it's a win-win situation for both, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Technically, sorry, go ahead.
No. Well, how did you get into the field of AI?
Right, so I actually went a very circuitous path to AI. I started out as actually kind of a chemist, a biochemist, and so very, how they say, non-traditional background. But I also studied computer science, and so I ended up doing a lot of computational biology, which meant a lot of scripting and a lot of, back then, what was big data, gigabytes. I'm not going to tell you how long ago this was. But yeah, it just, it sparked a lot of fascination with data processing and algorithms, pattern recognition, this sort of thing, a long, long time ago. And I just kept going in that direction. I was in academia for a very long time in biology, cancer research, infectious disease, and then moved on to a company called Revolution Analytics, which I was an R programmer, so it made sense. I went to industry. My first industry job is writing R code, and worked as a consultant. And then about 6 months later, we were acquired by Microsoft. And so I got this incredible opportunity to start working in Azure as a data scientist. Yeah.
Okay, well, Revolution Analytics, as many who have been working in the AI field know, it was breaking quite advanced things that they were building. So that's cool that you've also been part of that. Now, what really excites you about AI?
So many things. I think they're such challenging problems, and we encounter things that almost seem impossible to do. And then by collaboration and working with some brilliant people, in and outside of Microsoft, we come up with solutions that make sense. Of course, like AI cannot be applied to everything and should not be applied to everything. I mean, there's very specific reasons why you would or would not use machine learning.
The ethical
right?
part also, the responsible part.
Huge, yeah, exactly. Responsible AI is so critical to all these scenarios. But even just, like why would you use AI here versus not here? And ethics plays a huge part of it, right? But what I think in the core of it is just getting to work with really, really smart people on really hard problems. Yeah.
Okay. Now you've been working already quite some years for Microsoft. What do you love? Why do you love this job?
I guess I'll have to say the same thing in a way. I've never gotten to work with such smart people. My partners, my customers, internally. I am every day challenged. I'm definitely not, I will admit, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the most genius person in the world. So I get to learn from other people daily. And I love that aspect of my job. And conversely, right? Like I know a lot about certain fields. Every data scientist has their specialty, so I can help other data scientists grow in their careers as well and grow in their scenarios they're trying to solve. I think the collaboration and just the sheer passion and intelligence that I've found at this company is remarkable.
All right. Thank you very much for this interesting conversation, Micheleen. Looking forward to also see more of the work you've been doing here at Microsoft. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.